Okay, it's 7 p.m. So it's time for the Conservation Commission of Upton, and it's our meeting for Wednesday, January 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And our first hearing is a request for determination of applicability for 75 Elm Street. And Mary, do you have the oh, this is a continuation from December 11th. It was Phil and removal of 20 white pines.
Okay, yeah, and this was continued from both November and December, and I have heard nothing from the applicant. I did not reach out to them. But they were going to hire a wetland scientist, so it's quite likely that they're not done, and especially with the cold weather, that they're not able to do anything.
So should we continue this?
Yes, I think we should continue this.
We have a motion to continue this until our next meeting at 7 p.m. And that would be
January 22nd.
Okay, January 22nd at 7 p.m. So do you have a motion to continue this?
Second.
All in favor, let's do a voice vote. Chris, aye.
Paul, aye. Alan, aye.
Sandy, aye.
Okay, it's a unanimous vote of the members present. And Mary, can you just let them know that they're continued until the next meeting, please?
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, and so I'd like to welcome Shannon Flaherty to our meeting tonight. And we have our 7:30, which continued until February 12th. So we have a little bit of time. So Mary, would you like to do your agent's report, please, or administrator's report?
Sure. So it's going to take me a minute to get set up because.
Would you mind while you do that if I show these two whatever?
All right, yeah, so yeah. So Chris, we have Bill Andrews here, and he has an update to his building project.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Let's hear from
actually, let's see. Maybe turn the screen so you can talk and
There, that's okay. So what happened was the as-built that the surveyors did not include the 4 wetland markers, which it should have. So Mary got me a copy of the as-built that I had submitted. Thank you, Mary. And I went back to the house and I measured from the corners of the building to each marker, and I have those distances. And I used to take architecture classes in college, so I have the appropriate scales, and I just set my compass to the right scale and did the little arcs. And I've got 4 dots for where the 4 markers are, and they are in the exact location on the scale drawing where they actually are. Mary has actually seen them many times, and she's been happy with them. So I was hoping that this could be added to the as-built instead of having to pay the surveyor to come out again. I got kind of burned when I moved the sewer line. What was it, $2,500 when I changed the sewer from going out to the street and down the street to straight to it, so I didn't kill the 2 trees, which turned out to be dead anyways.
That's unfortunate.
So to move the line on the drawing, they charged me $2,500. So I would like to request that you accept the as-built with the new, and if you want the dimensions from the corners, I can actually do it, but this is the scale.
You see, I did.
And this is,
Mary, what's your thought?
I think, yeah, if you could write the dimensions in.
I'll write the dimensions in, and
From the
he
corners.
had me put a thing in the legend too for what the new marks are.
Yes.
And you're hanging out, this is gonna sound terrible, I can't write with you so bad now. If I gave you the measurements, I would write here, but I can't write.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Wait, go ahead.
Okay,
I just,
do we have any discussion from the board?
No, I'd make a motion to accept the as-built as discussed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do a voice vote. Chris, I.
Tom, I. Alan, I. Nick, aye.
Marcella, I. Sandy, I.
Okay, that's unanimous vote of the members present.
thank you all very,
Thank-
very, very much. You just
Oh,
saved
you're
me probably
welcome.
$2,000.
No
But you see
problem.
why I didn't want to put
That's
my
what we do
handwriting.
here, conservation, save people.
This is 27, that's 44. What's this one? 20.6?
22
Oh,
feet, 6 inches.
2, 6 inches.
I'd use that. That's 39 feet,
39, 10.
10.
Okay. 51, 11.
Yep, 51 feet, 11 inches. Yep. I apologize for having to do this. It's so,
That's okay.
it's shameful that I can't. I used to teach handwriting.
And
This is
Bill, I
great.
hope your rehab goes well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Rotator cuff is certainly one of the tougher ones. My friend's getting his hip done and he says in 2 weeks
Oh.
he'll be up and about. And I'm like, it's
Wow.
gonna be 6 months,
Wow.
but it's
I
tough.
think your
This,
teacher,
when I did the last
That's
one, it
more-
was a left hand, but I'm right-handed. So this one's worse.
oh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, but we all have to get through our struggles. Anyways, thank you all again very,
You're
very
welcome.
much. Is that clear enough? Anything else I missed?
That's 53.
3 inches.
3.
I try to be exact as possible.
That's fine, that's perfect. It's 20. Yeah, that's great.
And I'll see you, you said next year for this one.
Yes.
I wanted you to breathe, so I had a little, so you could see the skin. All right, folks, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, you guys are wonderful. I thought I'd be at the end of the meeting, so.
Be careful,
Oh,
guys.
no.
Oh, no,
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Mary, what's next?
Be safe, look out for it. I will, I love this guy.
Well, maybe, Chris, we might want to, I don't know, Shannon, would you like to say anything or, should we talk to Shannon now in case she doesn't want to stay the whole meeting
Yeah.
or she may want to?
Sounds like,
Sure. Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I have my camera on. I don't know why it's not working, but
Oh, I maybe have to allow it.
that's okay. I hope to join you all for the next meeting in person. Oh, I can join. Thank Hello.
no, worse.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too. We appreciate your interest.
Of course. I'm excited to be here.
Stop that. Sadie has lots of Dalmatians and other dogs. So Shannon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am currently a law student. I'll be graduating this year. And I currently work at a real estate law firm. So that was part of my interest in this is I do a lot of work. I do deal with a lot of orders of conditions and plans and surveyors. And so that kind of ignited an interest in me in kind of more of the environmental side. So this is like me kind of exploring that. And I'm really looking forward to learning more. I also own a dog sitting business that I run with my husband.
One thing
Gives
that might
you
help.
plenty of credit in my book, so.
One thing that might help speed your learning process along is going to the math website,
Mhm.
and they have a lot of information there. If you look at our website, our webpage, you might see other filings we've had before.
Great. Thank you so much.
And where do you live in Upton?
I live on Plumley.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I saw that there's a
All right.
Plumley house. There's a few for sale on our street. I saw there's one on the agenda
Oh.
today. One of my
Oh.
neighbors, they're across the street.
Oh, I have a social complaints today for someone on somebody.
Yeah, there's about, I think, 3 houses for sale on our street right now, so I'm not surprised.
And not to say anything bad, but not every um real estate person knows to check on their um outstanding orders.
Hmm.
So sometimes people sort through without it being checked.
Absolutely.
So we're glad when they,
Shannon? Shannon, how long have you been in town?
I've lived here my whole life.
Oh.
wow,
Yeah, I
Really?
grew up in Upton.
that's great.
Shannon, not yet, not your whole life, not yet.
Hopefully my whole life. But so far, the first 28 years.
have you seen the changes in town?
Oh my God. I mean, it's a different town from when I was a kid. I love it. I mean, I can't believe like just even like having a brewery in town now, like it's so different. There's
Right.
social spaces, you know. We didn't have that growing up. I'm excited and hope to raise my kids in Upton. So
And the community
Yeah.
center is a big change.
I.
You said you're still, you're a law student?
Potentially connect.
Yes,
Is that
I
what
guess.
There's
Do
a computer.
do you think,
Yeah.
would this be an imposition on your
cable?
getting your degree or anything?
No, I usually
Coming to meetings or anything?
like this is on the town.
No,
website.
absolutely
I
not. I'm
usually can't-
approaching
if the
my
computer's on.
last
but
semester
the
right
computer's
now.
not working right now, that connects to that screen.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, I was just curious.
I wonder
I
if
have
it's
friends
on.
who are attorneys. They-
Jen, do you have questions for us?
I don't think so. I'm just excited to learn. I'm looking forward to learning more about each of you as time goes on, and let me know if you have any questions for me, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you being here. This is a short meeting tonight, so this is a good one to get your feet wet. Some nights they go much later. And I would like to be in person, but I sprained my ankle. So I'm not around that much. And it's quite ironic that I sprained my ankle at physical therapy.
No way.
Yeah, I did. I roll it. So, but you move on.
Actually, I usually do this. Now that I think about it, I usually go through the town website and log into.
Technology can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Exit this.
Yeah, just exit. And go to the town website. Hey, Chris, I think we might be getting the other screen working here, so we've been working on that.
Okay, good.
Does
Thank
Shannon
you.
know we're having technical difficulties today?
No, I didn't, so
You
yeah.
might wanna look.
Yeah, sorry, Shannon, we're having we usually project on the screen and the connection for some reason, the mouse and the keyboard isn't working, so we're using a different one. Took us a while to figure that out though.
We have our IT guy on it though.
Yes, we have our IT guy on it.
And we usually show our plans and stuff online.
Yes.
But
So we
we
should
have
be
a
able to
little
do that shortly, actually.
Mary's a good problem solver. Oh, look at. Good.
Okay, so I'm ready.
One step better.
All right.
It's-
Now, can you hear us? Yes, you can hear us?
Yes.
Maybe the volume is the volume down.
The volume on this thing. On here.
Name reclaim home.
Well, we don't want to reclaim the host. I'll get rid of that. State co-host. What's the flight? Let's see if it's on here. Audience. Should be okay, right?
We can test speaker and see if it.
Work through technology.
Working, okay. And you can hear us, Chris, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right.
Well, Shannon, do you have any questions for us?
I don't think so, not at this time, but if I do think of anything, I will be sure to let you know. I'm looking forward to learning about each of you as time goes on. I'm
Should we
kind
go
of
around
in
the-
a sponge period. I'm gonna absorb everything, and
We could actually introduce
go-
ourselves.
yeah,
Some
that'd be great.
some technology working better. Mike Penko, Vice Chair, been on the commission for too many years.
Alan Miano, I'm a member of the Conservation Commission and also the Open Space Commission.
Tom Django, conservation member.
And Chris Scott, chairperson, and I was a high school science teacher, and I did teach a lot of environmental science. And now I'm retired from that.
I'm Marcella, and I've been on the commission, no, I don't know how long, but long enough. And don't have much to say.
Sandy's on.
Oops,
Sandy,
excuse me, yeah. There you go. I have to get both on at the same time. So I'm Sandy LaJoy. I've been on the commission forever, since Peppercorn Hill. About the year before that, I think we were on 311 in the teens when I came on board, so.
would be about 1884, right, Sandy, roughly?
Yeah, I was a child, like 8 years old when I got on the commission. Anyway, so that's me. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
And Shannon, we talked on the phone, so.
Yep.
Yep, we're missing our, we usually have someone to do the minutes. We're missing our assistant, so we're sad about that, but
Do we have one yet?
nope. We've had 2 interviews and that's it. And 1 rejection. I don't think they offered the second person the job.
So Mary is doing double duty.
All right, so. Should we go back to the agents? See if we can do that.
That sounds good.
Or actually, let me just
So,
make sure.
do you think the selectmen will be looking for a recommendation for Shannon? From the Commission?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I would make a motion to support the appointment of Shannon to the Conservation Commission.
Does she work on it? Is that
Yeah,
Or was she just-
I think so, right?
checking us?
You have a
Shannon,
second?
are you okay with that, with that motion?
Yes.
So,
Okay. Well, I didn't know if she was just, you've had other people too.
You can
Well,
still
Shannon.
back out, really.
You have a second to that motion.
Alan did.
Okay, let's do a voice vote. First, I.
Tom, I.
Alan, I.
Mike,
Marcella, I. Sandy, I.
Unanimous vote of the commission. And Shannon, you know what meeting date they're gonna talk about this? That's what the meeting.
I think it's their next meeting, which I'm not sure when that is, but within a few weeks.
Okay, with whatever day that is, also attend it remotely.
I think it's the 21st.
Oh, So that way we can. Mary, should we send something in writing also? Just be in person?
I'll send something to Sue, because Sue and I have been going back and forth. Sue, works for the selectmen.
Thank you.
And maybe, it looks like we have one visitor. I'm not sure. We have a Bill who's a visitor, which is fine, but if you're here for any specific reason, like you want to talk about something, our meeting tonight the agenda is pretty much empty because we've had continuation. So if you're here specifically for something, you're welcome to. Yes, and Tony, we are going to do the certificate of compliance soon. So, talk. So Tony, you can talk now, hopefully.
Okay, thank you. First, I'd like to welcome Shannon to the neighborhood.
Hey, neighbor.
And yeah, what I'm trying to do here is, I guess this was a leftover from the development, and I wanted to get a certificate of compliance so I can continue with the sale of my house. I've lived here about 30 years, and basically the property's getting a little bit too big for me to handle. And then that's it.
Mary, what are your thoughts?
All right. I did a little report on this. Get screen sharing working. All right, so this is speaking of 1985 and 1984. This is DEP file number 311-0041. This is like the oldest one I've dealt with while I've been here. And it's a weird situation where the whole subdivision, I think every single house ended up being encumbered by the order, but there's already a certificate of compliance for the subdivision. So every time a house goes for sale, they have to get their own certificate, just the way it was done. Which I think is why people do individual orders these days for lots. So most of the other houses have already received a certificate of compliance. There are no wetlands on this specific property. House looks like it's in great shape. Didn't see any issues here at all. I don't know if the town is maintaining the stormwater basins on this road. That would be the one question, but there's already a certificate of compliance, so. That has nothing to do with this house.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you, Mary.
Oh, Bill Taylor has a question.
Do you have any questions or comments from the audience or members?
Bill has the hand raised.
Bill Taylor, what do you have?
I think he's re-signing in
Oh.
as
Bill is
a
gone.
panelist, so hopefully.
My compliance has been approved, and should I see something in the mail or get something?
Well, I think the board needs to vote first.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what you need to vote.
All right, I
Just
thought you were moving
issue a
on with business. That's fine.
Compliance for 8 only, for that specific
Okay,
house number.
so I'll make a motion to issue, well, let's wait midway.
Yeah,
through.
we'll see what Bill
Let's
has
wait
to
for
say.
Bill.
Bill has to say.
What happened to Bill?
I was just trying to get in.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so go ahead and make your motion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for lot 8 Plumley, 311-041. Was that it?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's voice vote. Chris, aye.
Tom, I. Alan, I.
Like,
Marcella, I. Sandy, I.
It's a unanimous vote of the commission members present. And when Mary has that done, she will let you know, Tony, and arrange how for you to get that.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
usually
you.
have people come up. Don't expect it in the mail.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And our 7:30 was continued until February 12th. So we have time to go to our administrator's report.
So we'll need, I need one more signature on their certificate of compliance, so if someone wants to stop by. Good. And
I could stop by on, probably on Thursday or Friday. Or we, you in the office Thursday?
I will be in the office tomorrow morning, but I can also leave it with Denise.
Who has some of us signed it?
We just need 4.
Is anyone, oh, that
You
one.
guys just
Oh,
need it.
I didn't know we were talking, I thought you were talking about something else. Sorry.
Yes, we did.
Oh, let me pull up the Asian report, sorry, it's being slow.
Probably see Chris tomorrow. I could just take this
Okay,
and get her signature and then drop it back off.
it's easy.
So there's only this one that,
I think, yeah, this is the only one tonight.
I'll get Chris and track Chris down.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
So. It's one of the things I have on here is, and I can't remember if we talked about this last month. 154 West River Street, I've reached out to her several times. I guess it may be time for a little more formal letter.
It's the manure issue.
What's the more issue with her? Or maybe talk to Joe, I'm not sure. Or talk to Joe. Let's see. One issue. All right, so this is 30 to 32 Mendon, and they've just started, and complaints have been coming in. We've had at least 2, but I think they're doing. It's just, as we know, it's an unfortunate site, but it is permitted. So this is kind of the tree clearing work. Looks like, you know, everything looks as good as it can look. Relatively good. The crossing is a little messy, but it's. You know, there's nothing going beyond the erosion controls there. Although I feel like you should have a silt fence up. But it wasn't on the plan thing, so it's what it is. So that's that one. This is just this is Westboro Road. He has his bounds in. So these are the 2 houses that are way in back that you can't see on that combined or almost combined driveway.
That's silly.
Here's the bounds. Yeah, I know, but you have to get a special permit to do a combined driveway. So yeah, he's got this, it looks like a highway, doesn't
Yeah, I
it?
remember doing the plan, I remember the whole thing. I just found
Yeah.
it to be silly, down that strip in between them.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the property, it runs right along the property line,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And it's a father and son who's, and fine, so.
Rich, they don't have issues when they plow,
Yeah.
So that's that one.
push it onto theirs.
Everything that looks pretty good. All right, so here's 18 Kiwanis Beach, the final product with the boulders and the bounds. They still need to put them on, the placards on, but
Did they pull up the sprinkler system?
yeah, I think so. And this whole section here was grass. You know, I stuffed the leaves aside and the grass is gone. They did get rid of all. I don't know where they got the leaves from, potentially from the other side, but whatever. So it's, and I did release the occupancy permit. My husband who runs by there says someone has moved in. And we got the $6,000 and the fine. So that's kind of the update there. And, but we did not get a request for an amendment, so I'll just have to remind them they need to move on with that.
Where does the fine go in my account?
Yeah, so I put it in the Upton bylaw fund. I think I even asked, I think we reached out to I reached out to town council about that as to where the money should go, and he was okay with that.
And that's gonna be planted in the spring?
Yes, so it will be planted in the spring, and the fine is just for us.
Yeah, right.
$6,000
Is for the
is for the
right.
planting.
planting,
Well, actually, no, he's gonna,
4,000 and 2,000.
so we will return that 6,000 once the guy does.
It's a
the planting.
bond.
It's a bond.
Bond, right, yeah.
And so he also did this lovely gravel path, which was on the plan, although I'm not sure that they specified gravel on the plan. But it's there. And it goes all the way down to the water, kind of dead ends there. So I guess eventually they're hoping for a dock. But it's-
Bill, Shannon, the history of it.
What was that, Chris?
Do we fill Shannon on the history of this?
Oh, yeah, so Shannon, this is enforcement. The house, because it's a new house built on Pratt Pond, there's 100-foot no disturb zone. And they went and cut down a lot of the trees in that no disturb zone. You know, they kept a few big ones, but that was it. They really cut down everything small, everything blocking the view. So we're trying to mitigate that. Hopefully it'll be successful. Let's see. So that's the story with that. This is 49 Mendon Street, the getting rid of the swimming pool, it just was an erosion control inspection, and they did a nice job of dewatering the pool over here and keeping it away from the wetlands, so I was happy with that. And the pool is empty now. So that's nice. The first time I looked at it, it was half full, pool's empty. This is 41 Milford. After we talked to the owner, Mark, and we had a rainstorm, and so this was like 2 days after the rainstorm when it froze. So even though he has filled the wetland area, there's still water puddling in this area. And I don't think this was just a 1-inch storm. It wasn't like a huge, like 3-inch storm.
Yeah, so everything's been stopped at this, correct?
Everything stopped.
And we have to wait until the ground thaws or something so they can get soil samples.
Well, I did ask, I wrote them a letter, I asked them to give us an update by this meeting. And I did schedule them, gave them time at 8 o'clock, because I thought we had more stuff. So we may have to wait till 8, they may show up at 8, or they may not show up at all. I did ask them to give us an update, if they don't, my kind of feeling is if we don't hear from him soon, we need to do a real enforcement in this situation.
Okay.
I was thinking this one, maybe one that we would get the DP involved.
Yeah, except that it's only under the local bylaw, I'm afraid.
Oh. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, this one is, this is tricky.
And it wasn't, the Leslie well wasn't large enough to be isolated.
Right? It has that needs to be pretty, I didn't actually calculate it. That's how they, the tie and bond, that's what they figured out for their, they thought it was only under the bylaw.
Yeah. So it's what it's for an isolated wetland, what is it, a 1/4 acre foot?
It's pretty, yeah, 1/4 acre
Yeah.
foot. Yeah, I mean, we could kind of measure this out.
Yeah.
I know it certainly falls under our new stormwater bylaw, definitely. You know, even if they come up and, you know, Scott Goddard says, oh, it's not a wetland after all, he should have done filed a stormwater permit. But my sense, it's tie and bond, I mean, I think Goddard initially thought, oh, they did the review in January, they won't have good data, but they actually did the review in July. And they had some good soils data and really good pictures and a good log, so, you know, he's gonna have to do his own assessment and basically say that they're wrong. which, you know, it could be, it could be on the edge.
And this is across from the gas station.
Yep, this is across from the gas station.
The Imperial one.
The updated map. So I went out to a few sites at Cobbler's Creek. They're driving me crazy because they're supposedly submitting weekly SWIP reports. And the guy contacted me back, I don't know, last spring. And he's like, oh, we're gonna set up new erosion controls. We're doing phase 2. Great. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll start those reports because we're gonna be on site. I'll give them. He gave me like 2. I haven't gotten any since then. So I finally, I've been busy. So I finally called the guy, not the site crew, but the guy, the general contractor for Cobbler's Creek. He's like, oh, I'll call him, blah, blah, blah. But I also asked him, I'm like, so do you, because the plans say there's supposed to be silt sacks in these catch basins. There's no silt sacks in there. I'm like, so what's the deal with silt sacks? Oh, we stopped doing that.
Yes, we can see.
We stopped doing that. Well, because, if the silt sack's in there, they don't drain real good and the water puddles and then it ices over in the winter and then we're liable for lawsuit. That's the story. So.
Or clean the silt sack.
Right.
Or clean the silt sack. So I think, I just wanted to bring this to your attention, but I let him kind of go with that. But if board says, oh, please put your silt sacks in, I think that's, if they're on the plans, we can do that.
Do we take a vote? Let's do a voice vote. There's a motion to put the silt sacks in.
Is there an
With
alternative?
All right, well,
So
Is there
he
an
says,
alternative to the silt socks? That would be.
these are the deep sunk catch basins, right? So the sand, what happens, sand falls in, and then he's like, well, we'll vacuum them out in the spring. That's his thing.
and that's fine, but will they do that? Like, is there anything that says they have to do that?
Yeah,
Oh, there?
yeah, there's an operation and maintenance plan that they're
Okay.
supposed to follow, so the plan has 2 phases, the construction phase and the after it's built phase.
Okay.
And I haven't looked at theirs specifically, but usually the construction phase has a lot more in it than the afterwards. At least you would hope.
I don't have an issue with no silt sacks if that's gonna be cleaned up.
Yeah, I can see the silt sacks are a pain, I can see that, but,
And I understand in the winter and stuff,
right.
but for me personally, I don't have an issue as long as those things get cleaned out and they're not bailing out and then things are overflowing.
Yeah, the site, I would say it's relatively clean, for a construction site, but I just noticed that.
Do you have any other discussion about that?
No, that's it.
They have, so they're building the new phase, so that a few new detention basins that look pretty good, actually, I haven't been here too recently, so they must have put that in the summer and seeded it. That one looks good. But there is a section that doesn't look so great, they must have had the water ponded up here and actually pushed that, I think it pushed that silt, the wattle across the silt fence and got a little bit on the other side. It wasn't in the wetland, but it certainly was across the fence. And I think the silt fence ended up holding a lot of the silt. It was just water that got across. You can kind of see a path. There was no real damage, but they should fix their erosion control. So I did ask them to do that. And they also have a whole section of erosion control. As you can see, this is a stake here, completely buried by the rubble from their job. And this is the kind of piles they're doing. So hopefully he'll get that cleaned up in a week or so. I just talked to him last week. He was like, oh, it's cold, it's winter, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, it is. It's happening everywhere.
Happens every year.
Yeah. What's that? I just did a spot check at 123 Glenview, looking pretty good. This is 27 James. There. Got a lot of dirt sitting there. The guy below, I think behind down here, is complaining that he's having issues with his well, but there's no proof of anything.
Mhm.
So they are having to do a little blasting here.
Is that our issue?
Only reason I'm kind of monitoring this project is because it's a 40B. And as part of that, we made them do a stormwater permit kind of. And so we're looking at this for stormwater issues basically. Because this is it's a pretty big site, you know, they're putting 4 little houses in. I don't know, maybe I should know, it's at least an acre of disturbance.
Where is
maybe
this
2
again?
acres. So James Road comes into Westboro Road right by Pratt Pond, this little tiny dead.
Oh,
end.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
up back
it's
there,
up
yeah,
there.
yeah, okay.
What kind of issues is the neighbor having with the well?
I don't remember exactly, but I think flooding issues potentially, I don't know, I didn't understand, like his basement flooded. And I don't know what that had to do with his well, I did not talk to him, it was somebody else in the department. The basement flooded and he thought that might have been from this. I have no idea. The erosion controls along the back line are fine, I don't think, I haven't seen any like flow over them or anything. It is a big open site, so there's a lot going on there. The 5 North Street, they just recently put this crossing in and the wetland replication area is planted here and you can see that this is the replication area, it has wetland hydrology, you know, in terms of it's got water sitting in. So
That's such a huge culvert for such a small little area.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, just for the driveway, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I think they have to follow the street crossings.
yeah, no, I drive by it and I'm like, geez, it's a lot of money for
Yeah.
that. And then the wetland ends like 10 feet past.
And I actually, it is, I can't remember if they designate, the only reason they'd have to do a big fancy crossing like that, if it was intermittent stream instead of a wetland, right? Must have been,
Yeah, maybe it's an intermittent stream problem,
that's probably why.
maybe. Wow. It is what it is.
Yeah. This is 252 Milford Street, the old Cook parcel. And the people who are renting the building, or they own the building, there's some kind of fire engine company.
Yeah, it's Milford Fire and stuff is there, right?
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah, they have the emergency vehicles parked there,
yeah,
and then the backside is different.
right, yeah, I don't know what all they're doing there, but they want to take some trees down. So these are right on the edge of the parking lot, within the buffer zone, but both of these are pretty much dead. Compared to, I told him. So. And he's happy to leave them there. Great. Oh, yeah, the other issue with 252 Milford, yeah, he's got some cans of oil sitting there on the property. I asked him to get them away from the well, not that they would do anything, and he's gonna look into getting rid of
So like drums, like 55 gallon
Drums,
drums.
yeah. Yeah, I used it for all the equipment and stuff.
Yeah, and Cook left these big vats of dye, I guess, for mulch. He
Yeah.
doesn't even know what to do with that stuff, and that's sitting right next to the wetland big too. I don't know if that stuff's toxic. I have no idea.
Shouldn't be.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, he had a big operation.
Yeah,
He had,
a lot of stuff.
and then his wife's the one that sold it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and so, and they have their stormwater system, doesn't look like it's been very well maintained, but I found their own and gave it to them and they're all happy, hopefully they use it. So, and theirs is one of the ones, I think that one, I told them, they're supposed to be giving us annual reports too of when they clean up their system. So. That's pretty much it for my administrator's report.
Mary, your pictures are excellent. Makes us feel like we're all over there.
Good.
So any questions on Mary's report?
I do have a
Okay.
question for Mary, regarding, Marsilio's project. I was, I wasn't clear as to what the erosion issue there is. I've been in touch with him about picking up the erosion control. And I just kind of asked how things have held up through the various rain events we've had. And he said there's been no issues with it. So he thought maybe he didn't really need to have the erosion control. And I'm not familiar with the site, so I don't know, Mary, if you have any strong feelings. You know, he think he's happy to do it, but he wasn't sure how necessary it was.
Yeah, I think this is 10 Old Grafton Road, like you were out there, right? I think it's close enough to the wetland, and that even though it does seem pretty stable, I think just good practice to have the erosion controls there. That's my opinion anyway. Obviously he can't put them in now while the ground's frozen. But
Yeah, and you know, I think I was first in touch with him about it before Thanksgiving, and we've had many rain events since then. Some of them pretty heavy, and you know, I was worried that things were gonna start moving. So I imagine that by springtime the conditions will be such that it might still be an issue. So I'll encourage him to pick up the materials I have, and he can wait till spring, or at least until the ground is soft enough to stake them. But I'll follow up with that.
yeah, I think even if he lays them out, then at least they're there. And
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to verify that because he made it seem like there wasn't really any need for it, given that it was stable, but I haven't seen the site, so I couldn't make a judgment call. So anyway,
that was required on his determination, so.
yeah. Okay, no, I'll just make sure he picks it up. Okay.
Okay, and Mary, with things for the administrative report. And our meeting minutes from October 23rd.
I still haven't done the meeting minutes.
No problem. Anything else?
Yes, so we just have the financials. So what happened, and I guess I'll pull these up. We had a little bit of an issue with the bill for our legal ads. We hadn't been doing them for a while, but since Grace has been gone, apparently they're emailing Grace the bills. And we used to always get them in the mail. I kept looking in the mail and we weren't even getting them in the mail. So I don't know why they stopped mailing them. So I figured this out right after our last meeting. So I just went ahead and paid it because we were already like 3 months in arrears.
Okay.
So, but we should probably officially approve this.
Okay, we have a motion to approve our payment of Gatehouse Media for our. How about a second?
Second.
Let's do a voice vote. Chris, aye.
Aye.
Ellen, I.
Micah,
Marcella, aye.
Sandy, I.
Okay, and that's a unanimous vote of the commission. Thank you, Mary, for doing that.
$0.73 to mail.
And do we have other bills?
Yes, we do. And then it's just my mileage.
Okay.
25
we have a
cents.
Make a motion to approve
motion.
increased mileage.
How about a second?
Second.
Let's voice vote. Chris, aye.
Aye.
Ellen, I.
Micah,
Marcella, aye.
Sandy, I.
That's a unanimous vote of the commission. Okay, and our balance sheet.
Yeah, so this shows a bit of a changes. We paid the land stewardship revolving fund, we paid, although I don't think it actually went yet, but we're trying to pay Bob. what's his name?
Bob Hatch.
Bob Hatch for working on the bridges at or the crossing.
Mechanic Street.
Mechanic Street, Schoolhouse District 9. So that was a relatively big expense. And then also the bylaw fund. Wetland bylaw fund has the revenues up a fair bit because of the fines like that for speech. So that's how things stand there.
Excellent. Any questions about the finances? Okay, thank you, Mary. And how about open space? Bill,
I'm meeting with Tony Schiavelli and Mike Penko and Lisa Mozinski tomorrow afternoon to go over the proposals that were provided for the appraisals of the Fay Mountain Road and Forest Heights properties. So hopefully we'll select an appraiser and they'll get started as soon as possible. There's really nothing to report on any of the other projects at this time. I do have a couple of DPW issues to talk about. The Beavers have built a dam along Southborough Road, and the water has backed up behind that and is flooding the Rabbit Run Trail. It also eventually starts to erode the side of the road, Southborough Road. And there's also a dam apparently on near the parking lot on Grove Street, which caused the water to back up and start coming into the parking area. So in any case, the DPW has gotten emergency trapping permits from the Board of Health. And once I think they've trapped beavers already at Grove Street, just got the permit for Southborough Road. And once they've finished that, they're going to be seeking permission to breach the dams. Which
and
we'll work with Mary on.
so that should probably be an emergency order.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys go ahead and ratify it ahead of time if you want. Like to issue it now if you want.
Okay, let's take a motion to issue the emergency orders to breach the dams that the Beavers have built again.
So moved.
Second,
And let's do a voice vote. Press aye.
Tom, I.
Alan, I.
My guy.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, I.
Unanimous vote of the commission.
Thank you.
And-
And then just to give you a heads up, DPW will be coming to the Conservation Commission. And I can't remember whether or not it's an RDA or an NOI. I think it's an NOI to replace the sand at Kiwanis Beach.
Bill, can I ask you about that?
Sure.
Replace the sand, does that mean removing what you have or just adding to it?
Taking away sand that's there now and replacing it.
Why are they doing that?
Apparently it's gotten kind of gruesome, so.
No, I'm just curious, I
It's
don't,
very rough if you go out there.
where, with all the goose stuff or where?
No, it's just really, the pebbles are really big. It like
Oh.
hurts your feet.
Oh. I was just curious, I just didn't.
Yeah,
know.
and in fact, it's not that we're gonna model our NOI on something that they did in Framingham. When they did exactly the same thing. They replaced the beach at one of the, I think it's actually the body of water that's just off the Mass Pike.
Sure, good shit you were there.
Yeah, so, and the DPW will do most, if not all of the work. they'll bring the backhoe in and take the old sand off and put it into one of the dump trucks and then cart it off. And have the sand delivered and spread it.
What do they do with the sand that's removed?
You know, I don't know, but that'll be part of the application.
I would wonder if that sand that's being removed is considered hazardous waste.
Well, it can go with the rest of the stuff in the yard, which needs to be hauled away.
Will they be taking the sand that's in the water or just above
No,
the?
just up to the edge of the water.
How much, like 10 inches, feet?
You know, I don't remember.
Okay, well,
It's
we'll
not,
see.
it's a foot or a foot and a half or something.
Okay, no, I'm sure we'll know once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, we'll
filing.
tell you exactly how much we intend to take.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bill.
Shannon, just to fill you in, we have a love-hate relationship with beavers.
Hey,
very
you
apt.
speak for yourself. I love them. You guys can hate them.
Oh, I love them too, but they are causing lots of issues.
Oh, yeah, speaking of beavers, it appeared that on the other side of Southborough Road where the fence is, the beaver fence, a beaver got caught in the fence
No,
and still there probably.
oh no.
Where was this? Tom Don noticed it.
Where was it? Southborough Road?
You can see it from the road. It's on the CCC Way side of Southborough Road.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah, I see,
roadkill or beaver?
I think it got stuck in the fence and drowned.
Was it going upstream or? It must have been going upstream, I would think.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was
Yeah.
trying to exit the fence area.
Yeah.
And I was doing some cleanup during the summer along Southborough Road. And I think I had found a beaver located at another fence, which is on the other side, the smaller bog on the other side of Southborough Road. There's a fence there as well. And it appeared to be a dead beaver, but I guess they do provide some degree of risk.
Yeah, it would have to be small beavers. They have to be the young ones.
Yeah, it wasn't huge. Yeah.
Big ones can't fit.
And on Pratt Pond, if you're going near the intersection with the traffic light there, there's a tiny tree that beaver has tried to cut down, but then they gave up. So you can see we were nodding on that.
And also at Southborough Road, there's what looks like a new lodge. So they have, they seem to be active in building up the area.
Well, I guess the parents kick out the young beavers after a certain period of time. And then that's why they make a new lodge.
Yeah, no empty nest syndrome there. Get out.
And how about land stewardship?
I actually have a request to approve funding to purchase trail markers, the medallions. This is specifically, we'll probably be buying more than we need just so we have them, but we need them on the District 9 schoolhouse property. I've been talking with Dan, and he's color coding the map, so we'd like to use yellow and orange to color code the trails. But we are practically out of medallions, so I wanted to make that purchase and get those medallions up as soon as we can, because the trails are ready to go. Looks like the bridges are, happening. So I So I'd like to propose that we spend up to $300 to purchase medallions as trail markers. And that would come out of the Land Stewardship Fund.
How many men?
Second,
Marcella,
You know,
how
I-
many medallions?
Pardon?
How many medallions would that be?
I don't know exactly. I was just gonna buy as many as 300 would cover. I thought that was a reasonable amount to spend. It's probably, I think we can get at least a couple of hundred medallions.
Excellent. So do we have a second to Marcella's proposal? Mike, are you the second?
Second,
Okay, let's do a voice vote. Chris, aye.
Aye.
Alan, I.
my God.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, I.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote of the commission.
And I have another question for all of you. As a member of the Mosquito and Tick Control Board, I'm working with a Boy Scout who is going to help us by building bat boxes that he wants to distribute to residents who have sites that are suitable for bat boxes. But we are also talking about putting them on some town-owned properties where, you know, we don't know how many sites will be suitable. But one of the ideas was to put some on open space parcels. And so I want, you know, that would have to go through conservation. I don't know if any of you have any strong feelings about it, but the bats need a relatively open area at a place where the bat boxes need to be 30 feet up. They shouldn't really be on trees because they you know, that creates too much shade. They need to stay warm. So if we can find a tree which happens to have a sunny spot 30 feet up, that would be kind of nice to do. But if we could find such a tree, 2 sites I thought might be possible would be Warren Brook in some of the areas that have been recently cut. There might be some places where there's a open area for that. And the other idea was Stephens, where the open fields are. There might be a site there, or near the community garden. So I don't know if I should put that to a vote and ask for the okay to pursue these sites and see if we can place bat boxes there, but be happy to
What
hear.
about the high tensions and stuff on the power lines?
I'm sorry?
What about on the power lines? Power lines that will go up, and if the National Grid lets you put it up there, they're in the open, they're, you know.
I doubt that they'd let me put them on the structures, but if we could find something nearby that would accommodate the bat boxes, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't allow anything on the structures themselves. That's probably, I think they'd probably be there'd be a safety concern there.
Well, I know they sometimes let you put stuff up for Osprey and Eagle and all
Oh,
that.
do they? Well, it's worth pursuing. I can certainly ask them.
It's just an idea, you know.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and it would be an ideal place to position them because that's wide open and sunny and would work out well. So
Marcel, I think a little bit about safety. Is he going to install a bat house 30 feet up off the ground?
we haven't gotten that far. This is an Eagle project, and he's gonna be working with other scouts and presumably some adults on this. So I was hoping that they could get at least the ones that would be on town lands mounted. The ones that would be distributed to homeowners would be up to the people who want them to install themselves, so that they're on their own there. 30 feet is not that high up, but it's up there if you fall 30 feet. Not a happy thing, but
Yeah,
Marcella,
I've been higher.
Yeah, a lot of us have.
there's this thing called gravity. You have to think about.
Right.
I would certainly make sure that whoever is doing the installation knows what they're doing, or we could, I might suggest to the scout that they hire somebody who knows their way around such things, if they don't have somebody in the troop who can do that.
Marcelo, I have one suggestion, that if you know where the bat boxes are, if they can go on some type of plan, whether it's an open space plan. So it can find out where their bat boxes.
Well, we
And that
haven't,
way-
you mean like mapping out the sites where they're located?
And also a maintenance plan. So if they have to be fixed or
Okay,
replaced.
that's a good thought. We hadn't thought about that, although I don't know how much, yeah, we have to investigate, see what kind of maintenance they require. So I will
Good idea.
talk to the scout about that. And part of the project, this is in an effort to do some mosquito control. And so inviting bats to live in Upton will help lessen the mosquito problem, we hope. But he's also going to produce some kind of an information sheet, something that would be displayed maybe under, at least on the public areas, under the bat box, so people know what it is and why it's there. And then this could be distributed in various places in town, like the library and the Board of Health and Town Hall. So that's part of the project.
Have the bats come back yet? I mean, as far as the population, where they all, almost 90% of them died or?
I saw some bats this past summer. They seemed, and I hadn't seen many in previous summers, so I've heard that they're making a comeback, but I doubt if they're back at the levels that they were prior to the fungus knocking them back.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a bunch flying around my house too in the spring, probably at least half a dozen. They were living in my attic. And I had to get them out of there.
Why? They're fine critters.
Crap all over the place, so, but made it till midnight and then just sealed it up.
Yeah, we have, we've had them living in our, over our garage in the attic area there. And I think they just kind of find whatever works for them. Ironically, there was a bat box placed, 3 feet under the opening where they were getting into the attic. So I don't know what appeals to them most, but they may or may not occupy the bat boxes, but we hope they will.
No, I just wanted to make mention that it's 8:10, and we've heard anything from 41 Milford Street in their sophomore quarter.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anyone new here in the participants.
So Mary, where do we go from here?
Oh.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys want to just let 41 Milford Street sit a little bit longer, maybe consider next meeting whether we want to issue official enforcement order. Give them another few weeks to get back to us. I can reach out to them.
How about if we keep,
Waiting 2 months.
If we go down to our discussion items, we have combined land is planning, legal ads, advertising. So what-
Yeah, so. And this is in part because of the deal with the legal ad. So right now, well, they actually went ahead and did this without asking me, or I think Grace and Mike did this in the middle of the summer. They combined all the ads into one, except they only, I think they did planning and Concom ads into one. And the ZBA ads are still separate. But what that meant is that when I got the bill, I'm like, wait a second, how come we got these planning board? I didn't even know. I'm like, how come these planning board? So I had to separate the bill out and, just pay the Concom stuff. Because originally when Grace was paying the bills, she was paying for both. So I think in her mind or in their mind, it made sense to just combine everything. Except it's coming out of different pots of money too. That's the other issue. Yeah, so it's not a huge deal. Mike was just requesting, he's like, can't we just have it all in one thing? I think that, I don't know whether, who needs to approve this or whatever. Right now, we're bringing in a legal ad fee, which is covering that, we charge $110, which is more than the costs have been. If you saw those two, bills, they were like 57 and I don't know, whatever, it's more.
Or something.
Yeah. It's more, the way, and they have different, planning board has different processes, they have a fee, but they don't have a separate legal ad fee. It's just a different process, so, and it kind of brings into the question other things too. I was even thinking today, like, Mike, I was out of the office, I don't think anyone else was around, so Mike ended up selling some bounds, and I'm like, told me he sold, I'm like, well, what did you do with the money? Because, we usually put that in our account too, so I think in the end, I think eventually Joe had kind of wanted to move towards more of a combined budget. It's not that big a deal, but this is just one area where Mike thought it was easy to combine it. And then I guess I would want to talk with Mike more. Well, what do you think about it? I mean, we can still charge our fee for it. We're basically covering our cost. At any rate. So I don't know if people have strong opinions or whatever.
I mean, just, how might it work? I mean, every other bill conservation pays,
No, I think
every
it's just gonna come out of, and I don't even understand how Mike's idea, I think Mike's idea is they're just gonna pay it out of the Lewis budget. So right now, conservation's still kind of separate under the land use and inspectional services budget. We have our own $9,000. I've been paying all the legal ads out of the money that comes in for the legal ads, which is the Upton bylaw account. That's where it's going. So I'm not sure that, I mean, to me, it's a little confusing to pull it out since we've kept everything separate. But if the end goal is, and I think this is Joe's final goal, is to kind of have things more combined, who knows? I mean, I'm not sure how much it matters in the end.
But I guess my question still is, where would Mike like to pay these from? What fund?
I think he has envisioning a legal ad budget.
Okay,
And so that, and I don't know, to me, that's a little weird, because if we're collecting a fee, well, then maybe our fee needs to go into that Lewis legal ad
yeah,
budget.
yeah,
Which is, that would be okay.
yeah.
So this is just one little, and I think Mike was kind of pulling his hair out because, he also had 3 months of unpaid planning board bills and trying to figure out the bills and the other thing, once we get someone, it'll be much better because Grace did a wonderful job of figuring all that stuff out. That was great. So I think this is partially Mike going, we don't have any help. This is too crazy.
Well, it's true.
Yeah. And I think he's feeling it even more than I am. I know we were both kind of commiserating about the annual report, and Mike's like, I think Grace wrote all mine last year. He's thinking, I gotta do this one and that one. So,
You gotta hire people.
yeah. Yeah, I don't feel strongly either way. This is just a request that came from Mike.
we should be very transparent with what we're charging people and what that's being paid for. So there's no ambiguity that people are paying. What is it paying? Are they paying for something else too?
Well, right, and our legal ad fee, that's a slightly separate issue. Our legal ad fee is higher than it would have to be, I think. We're bringing in more, we're making a profit on it.
Not really.
Takes some
No,
stuff.
there's,
So,
Yeah,
there's personnel involved too. It's not like we're
that's
just.
true. Yeah,
profit's a little strong.
yeah, I guess that's, okay, sorry, that's a strong one. After all, we have to pay the bill.
Well, the question, I think I'd be okay with this, but I was wondering, is there a way that commission could, transfer funds to this legal ad
Yeah.
fund?
Yeah, we can do that.
It seems like that would be the appropriate thing to do, is that.
Yeah.
That somehow the Conservation Commission is paying for the ads that we require.
Yeah.
So I would maybe let Mike know that we consider it, but we're wondering if, if periodically it could be a transfer from one of the commission funds to this legal ad fund.
Yeah, and maybe I'll just push back a little bit on it, because in the end, if we just separate the accounts out, planning board and conservation, it's pretty simple.
Right.
It's two bills to pay, and it's coming out of separate accounts, because if we end up transferring money, that's just another step. It's like the same thing as paying
Not
two
saving
bills.
anything.
Yeah. I'll talk to him.
I agree with you,
Thank you.
Mary. Should just keep it separate, pay our own bills,
Yeah,
keep it
Thank you,
simple.
Mary, for. Okay, a new board member. We already have talked with Shannon, so we hope that you will join us. And 18 Forest Beach Road violations.
yeah, I think I reported on that mostly in my report. So I don't think there's anything to add.
In our report.
And in your-
Due on
Let's do on Friday. Yes,
you did a
so,
great-
well, I didn't really. I'm kind of, like last year, we had a piece from land stewardship and from open space. See if I can pull this up, and I did not add that, but I don't know if you guys have written your reports yet, land stewardship.
Land stewardship is in draft. Which I could provide to you, or else.
Or we could just drop these kind of, if it's a repeat of what's going on in land, I could just say, look at the land stewardship report. The only thing I mentioned was, because they did the NOI for the parking lot. I think that was the only thing. And then on this yellow section, as I was kind of looking over some of the old annual reports, I'd kind of just like to drop it. I just like to keep, because I feel like it's a little confusing. The numbers are either exactly the same or they're one-off. And the only reason they'd be one-off is like we got an application in December and we didn't issue the order till January. I don't think people need to know that. To me, that's just confusing.
Yeah, fine.
So I just wanted to drop that portion. And it's just. Then, Mike, do you have an ISIN for this year?
And we do, we did, we didn't, and we did. I'll have to get you I think it's the 12th.
That was last, I highlighted this, that's what was
Oh,
last
you-
year's date.
So looking for an
This
ice
year.
out and an ice in,
An ISIN from just this past month.
okay. It would be
The ice out I
December.
have.
December.
I think it was December 12th, but let me
Okay,
double check that.
and that would have been the same as the year before, which
It was within a day of the year,
really,
yeah. We've been, I think, measuring that, or recording that 5 times now. And they've all been, except for one's like been 3 weeks off, the rest of them have been clustered.
About the same day.
Yeah.
That's
it's-
interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah.
We're gonna lose it. You get it? We lose it. we get it again.
Yeah. And it's that one side near, cause we've been wanting to go ice skating, but the side near Kiwanis Beach is still not frozen, right? It's like open,
It might be
it
now.
might be now. Like I
I
drove
was
by there
thinking about
yesterday.
it
and I was
this
like,
weekend.
yeah,
Although I haven't checked it. But I
Right.
thought the weather was cold enough that it would have.
it seems like it should be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of exciting things in here. It's just pretty basic.
Red Rock and the Beavers cut trees down right beside the parking lot.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, they come on up to the parking.
All right, so if this is okay, I'll just, I'll wait for your ice out figure. I'll just get rid of the red stuff, which is the more detail on land stewardship and open space. Submit it pretty much as is. You guys are okay?
A vote,
So,
let's, a motion to approve this.
So move. Second.
Okay, let's do a voice vote. Chris, aye.
All right, Alan, I.
Micah,
Marcella, I.
Sandy, I.
Okay, that's unanimous vote of the commission. Thank you, Mary, for writing this. And how about our FY 26 budget?
I don't know if people got a chance. I had fun doing this. It was fun. Nerd thing. So I went and looked at all our filings over the years. I thought that was interesting.
I'm glad you,
Well, that's your job.
It was kind of fun.
I thought
And
that
then-
was,
Made a graph.
Yeah, look at you.
This is what I do instead of typing minutes.
This is more fun.
Yes, for fun.
Pretty color. Oh,
And then budget. So really, the only thing difference is the annual increases with wages. The town did a comp and class plan in which they compared all the other towns, and that bumped me up a teeny bit, not much. So that was nice. And hopefully we'll get the assistant planner this year and be able to pay them some of this money. And you'll see that position is in the town, the personnel board approved this position, so that's a significant raise for that person, so that's great. And the only other thing is I may talk to the Beaver, because I don't think we've paid anything out of Beaver yet this year, because DPW, or not DPW, Animal Control is doing, Mike Moran. is
we
doing
actually
beavers.
paid for the cleaning of the
the maintenance, so.
the maintenance. of
Oh,
the
we made it
things.
like for the annual maintenance.
Yeah, which is around, what, $1,200 or
Yeah, we
something?
haven't paid for that yet this year, but maybe whenever that comes due.
Yeah.
So, but that's the only expense out of Beaver. I'll leave it the same, but I'll just maybe, I know Mike Moran said, oh, I think his budget comes out of the Board of Health.
Yeah, Board of Health gets,
So
it
Board
was,
of Health
it used to be
might-
$8,000, we were getting 4, Board of Health was getting 4. We stopped trapping
Okay,
pretty much, but if it makes sense, we may put in pond levelers,
okay,
but we do pay for the maintenance, so. I think we should
we'll just
keep
leave
it, but if they need money, we may be able to give them like some or something, because we haven't put pond levelers in for years. I mean, we've got them in a couple of sites, and that's it. And there's really no other sites that they've been needed for, or the site couldn't use them, wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, and everything else is level funded. So. That's what the advice from the town manager was, just level fund everything.
Sounds good.
I'm supposed to put actually, I was supposed to put our income in here, but I didn't get that together yet. Or our revenues, just for them to look at. It's not actually part of the budget.
Do we need to vote on this, Mary?
Well, could I ask that we hold off on that, because we do have one of the discussion items is potential new position.
All right, that's good.
So
Yeah,
why don't we talk about that first, and then if need be, some could be added to this budget, but land stewardship, the last meeting talked a little bit about possibly having a summer intern, land steward, conservation assistant. And I think I found like a model or just an example from Lexington, job description. I think it was part of the packet. But Mary wasn't at this meeting, and I think Mary, we really, I personally think it'd be a good idea. And land stewardship, the recommendation was to support it. Okay, but Mary, you would be possibly the person most impacted by this, because chances are you would be this person's supervisor. And you already kind of stretched.
in the summer more so than, but yeah, hopefully we get there.
So I personally think hiring someone would be great for a number of reasons. One, there's plenty to do, and two, it's nice to give someone a first job in the environmental field. And I don't think it would be that much money. I think maybe if we were to decide to do this, we could maybe pencil in $10,000 or so. The budget, and then let people shoot at it. But
If we're just thinking one.
What would
kids
they,
are lucky
what
to
do
get
they,
one.
what does this person do? Like,
well, the person could do trail work, monitor the trails, clear the trails, invasive species management.
just a
Just
summer job?
like
Just a summer,
Just
yeah.
like even the mowing, right?
And
Just
mowing, yeah. Possibly some chainsaw work, some training. Could assist Mary with some of her other conservation duties. And I think there's a lot of things, depending on if you got someone who's like maybe a junior in college, or someone, between junior, senior year, that person who had some knowledge. Keep them being knowledge, could do that.
Now, would this have to go to the selectmen?
Well, sure, yeah. Yeah, Chris, this has to go before the FinCom. It has to get past Joe first, I imagine, right? And then FinCom, Selectmen. Another thing I was going to say, potentially, we've got CR monitoring, and always kind of falls through the cracks. Potentially we could have someone do a CR baseline report for some of the properties, if they have the skills to do that. I don't think we have any problem, for like maybe, say a 12-week position, finding things for someone to do. But Mary, it would add to your heartache, I think, I think we need to think what we would do this. The other thing I'll say is, I think land stewardship, Marcella can jump in. I think land stewardship really could probably use the support. Some of our long-term land stewardship volunteers are kind of stepping back, and they haven't been replaced.
And we're getting old. Trail
Yeah.
work is not fun.
Wasn't gonna say that, but yes, it's old and a bit infirmed in some cases. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good
I
idea.
think open it up to
And I've been
discussion.
I've been talking to Joe a little bit, just saying that this is a need, you know, there's a lot of responsibility that this committee has, and there's not, you know, it's all volunteers. I think he's, at least it's.
Another thing, by the way, that I did was building boardwalks or maintaining boardwalks. Yeah, I don't think we have any problem keeping this person busy. You know, anyway. Open it up to discussion from the rest of the members.
Sounds good with me.
Chris, Marcella,
What would the next step to go move this forward?
Joe.
Joe,
Conversation, oh, would be appropriate.
talk to Joe. If it's
Would this go to a selectman meeting?
would modify the budget request to include. You know, whatever amount they have to also something like that, no justification for it.
So do we want
How
to
would
put a
we-
placeholder on the budget request to see if, you know, if it gets approved by the select board and whoever else needs to take a look at it? Or do you want to put this off until the next, you know,
What I would suggest is that Mary talks to Joe. And if Joe's okay with it, add it to her budget request. And then that goes to selectmen and FinCom.
Yeah.
And then they say,
And well, let the rest cut off, think of how many people they hire to run their beach program. Of course, there's money coming in on that, but they hire a ton of kids.
kids used to be some of them.
Yeah, no, I do. Yep.
And potentially part of this person's task could be to assist you with conservation regulatory issues. So part of the salary could be out of
Right,
what
come out of the
revolving funds. I don't know.
Right.
Just,
the Wetlands Protection Act fund,
yeah.
or the bylaw fund.
If it was regulatory.
So we would be able to fund this. And Mary, does Joe want all this on by the 10th?
Yeah, the
Uh,
deadline budget is the 10th supposedly, but in the past, it's been a soft, hard deadline.
Soft.
If we get our report in, they'll be happy.
Well, any further discussion? If not, I'll make a motion to add a new position. Conservation and land stewardship to our FY26 budget request.
Do we have a second?
second?
To a voice vote, press I.
I.
Alan, I.
I would just, it's like, I wasn't quite finished.
I know.
I was gonna say, for the amount of $10,000. But,
Okay, so I say aye to that.
That
okay, I,
amended.
in virtual. Okay.
Do we have more of a voice vote?
Sandy, aye, you waiting for me? I didn't know if you were
Mhm.
voting or not.
Think that was it.
And
Chris,
I voted, yeah, aye.
She voted before you were done.
Yeah,
She
I
can read
vote.
you.
it's scary.
Okay. Alan, what was your vote?
Yes, I voted aye.
Tom?
Yeah, aye.
So we have a unanimous vote of the commission to fund $10,000 for the summer land internship. And so it's a unanimous vote of the commission. And we had possible encroachment, District 9.
See, Dick.
Actually, I make a motion to approve the FY 26 budget as modified. Can we do that? I don't think we do that. Chris, is
Do a
our,
second. Yes,
Second.
do a second.
Second.
Okay, let's vote, voice vote. Chris, aye.
Aye.
Alan, aye.
Michael,
Stella, I.
Sandy, I.
So unanimous vote of the commission to approve our FY 26 budget. Now we have possible apportionment for District 9 schoolhouse.
You just want to look at the, she sent a map, and then there's that picture of the stone wall, which would you prefer to look at first? I didn't exactly figure out where it was on this map.
yeah, there's actually a couple, like, Kristen O'Brien from SBT is working on the baseline report for District 9. And she's found a couple of different encroachment issues. One is not part of this email, was some chain link fencing that was near the lot line. So one or two lots, kind of off of Fowler. I don't think anyone from the commission's ever saw those. I don't know, Marcella or Bill, do you ever see those?
Probably I've gotten lost in there often enough and encountered stuff like this more than once, but I couldn't say that it's the same thing that Kristen was looking at.
Yeah, and I have to. So there, I think, you know, possibly we should just tell Christian that, you know, the commission will contact the owner and or remove the fencing ourselves at some point. Don't know how long the fencing's been there. Whether it's the current owner of the abutter or the previous abutter. So that's one. Second one is this is the Knott property. For some reason, the survey apparently puts the property line 6 feet to the right of the stone wall, which means that Knott's fence, which you can see in the photograph, is on the conservation land. I kind of pushed back a little bit to Kristen to maybe take a look at the deed and I mean, it's just, I think everyone agrees it's weird that, you know, the stone wall would not be the boundary. And it'd be 6 feet off like that. Did the survey,
I did look at the deed.
any enlightenment, Bill?
Well, there's a plan, and the stone walls it does show show that the property line is essentially where the fence is. It's weird. The stone wall is outside of the property line, but it runs right behind or next to the stone wall.
So, Bill, is that plan that was generated by the surveyor that the town hired, or is that an older plan?
It is the plan associated with the sale of the lot from the Hendersons to the Knotts.
Okay, but is that when was that plan?
It's 1981.
Oh, really? So it's an older plan. All right. All right.
But you're saying that the plan that we paid for shows the boundary line on the other side of the stone wall?
Sorry, found.
Yeah, can you see the picture that's on the screen?
Now, I see the picture that's on the screen, and if I'm looking at this, that metal fence would appear to be exactly where the property line is shown on the original plan.
Well, that's good then. Okay. Well, we can, I'll tell you what, could you email me and Kristen that plan? That's the
Sure.
91 plan? Because Kristen's doing the baseline report and she just wants to know how to address the situation. And if the 81 plans suggest that there's no encroachment, that would be great. And that's
Yeah,
what
I'd have to check. I mean, that stone wall, I don't think extends all the way to Mechanic Street.
no, it doesn't.
Right, okay, then the plan shows the stone wall, and like I said, it shows the property line on the inside of the stone wall.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I have it on my desk at work. I'll just scan it and send it to you.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so, and then there's one other encroachment. This one's easy. There's, can show the other, thing she said, but it's basically an area is being mowed by an abutter. And we can just ask the abutter to stop
Was there
mowing.
another picture? Or is it?
I think it's right. See the red line? Is there a red line there? Yeah, so it's, see the area to the left of the red line?
Oh, this portion here.
Yeah, that's being mowed
Oh,
by,
that's a pretty big portion.
and that's town, that's now town land and it's being mowed.
Okay.
So we can just talk to the abutter about that. The encroachment,
What road is that on?
mechanic.
You know who the owner is, Mike?
Pardon?
The owner. You know what the owner is?
No, I don't know who the abutter is.
Bill, do you know who the owner is?
No, but I can check.
Thank you. Are we good with that one?
Yes.
Okay, because we now have 41 Milford Street. Stop work order. Says update. Since we've given them 40 minutes to show up.
Yeah, I don't, still no one
So
knew.
Mary,
Yeah, I think, I'll try to contact them for the next meeting, if that's okay with everyone. And then at that meeting, if we still haven't heard from them, see, we need to decide if we need to do more of a formal enforcement order. I mean, they have a letter from us kind of outlining the procedure that we expect to see.
What exactly was it again, 41 Milford Street? What is that? Where is that?
That's across from, we were talking about that earlier, across from what used to be
Imperial
Gaskell,
Gas.
Imperial.
Oh, that,
Gas
okay,
Station,
right.
yeah. Yeah.
I was confused.
so should we put that on our next agenda for a time certain?
Or we can put that on for a time.
how about if we put on for 7:15 at our next meeting?
Yeah.
So the property with the abutting or the encroaching lawn is 72 Mechanic Street. Noel Collins and
Dennis Todd.
Dennis Todd, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, years ago, I thought that when the Drews owned that property, they swapped that piece of land that they're mowing for the little corner piece with the down by the stream, so that the Hendersons would have an entrance in there where you go in for your trails.
Maybe that
I don't think.
change was never recorded properly or.
I'm just saying, that might be what they tell you. But, you know, I'm just a neighbor, I don't know, you know, for sure, but years ago, the Hendersons proposed to the Drews that they swap a little piece of land so the Hendersons would have you know, room for a road there, so, to go in. So, just throwing it out there.
It's good to know.
That might be their, you know, explanation.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Henderson mentioned to me, and I know this was the case with the Knots, that they had told them it was fine for them to, they had, actually, I think at some point they had a paddock, which we've now paved, but in any case, I think they may have had a similar arrangement with the owners of that house.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Well, there is.
I'm sure Dennis and Noel would be glad not to mow something.
And there's a bound right at that corner, which we can show them.
So at this point, do we have anything else to discuss? So for our next meeting on the January 22nd, we have 2 things being continued. And otherwise, we have a motion to adjourn. Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, let's always vote. Chris, aye.
Alan,
Alan, I.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, I.
good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.